Hello friends, this is Captain Dave along with Miss Brooke, Simple Plan Trucking. We're here in Springfield at the corporate office, and we're going to do a video today in our continuing series of Get to Know Your Trainer. Oh, say hello, Brooke.
Hello, Brooke.
Hello, Brooke. She's with us behind the camera, right where she likes to be. And we have Felix the Wonder Dog with us today. And to my right, I have a very special guest, somebody we met today for the first time. He goes by Cornbread Trucker, and his real name is Orville. And Orville approached us this morning. We were having breakfast, and he said, "Hey, I saw that you guys mentioned last night for people to come by and say hello." So he said he watches the channel, enjoys it. So we had a fantastic conversation, and come to find out that Orville's a trainer. He's done both PSD and TNT. And I asked him if it'd be all right to do a video today and just kind of learn a little bit about him and what he likes to do with training and what his perspective is. So, good morning, Orville.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, everybody.
Great. So, can you tell me a little bit? First question would be, tell me a little bit about you. What's your background? Where you're from? How you got into trucking?
Well, I grew up in the trucking industry. My father was an owner-operator, and back in the 80s, he had been driving the truck for years, and my summertime would be spent riding with Dad. And and I didn't realize it at the time, but Dad was constantly teaching me things about trucking, and I picked up on a lot of that, even though I didn't realize that he was kind of figured I might end up in the business one day, and so he was teaching me things like how to read a map and trip planning was a little different then, but how to go about just driving in general. I started driving in the mid 90s. Started off driving for Shoney's commissary, which was the Shoney's restaurants. I later went to drive for rail transport, doing drive-in for a while, and then I eventually went to a local company back in Wichita and drove for them. And then I had some children, stopped driving for a while. I was pretty young, wasn't really prepared for living on the road and having a family, and that was kind of stressful for me, so I stopped driving, and then eventually once the kids grew up, I came back out on the road.
That's interesting you say that. I frequently say I don't know how people are able to have kids, young kids especially, at home and be out on the road and see them only occasionally, but I give people a lot of credit that are able to do that. It's a huge sacrifice. I know I wouldn't have been able to do it either, so sounds like you made the right decision to stay at home when your kids were young and growing up, huh?
I did. My father was gone on the road. My mom raised me for the most part, and it was always exciting to see Dad. And then, of course, as a teenager, when you start to become a little more rebellious, sometimes when Dad's coming in off the road and you're in trouble for something.
Did you get that wait till your father gets home?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. And so, but looking back on it now, of course, I'm grateful for the upbringing I had. Mom was she wasn't able to work, and so it was just Dad's income, and that's why he had to stay out there working, and he provided a good living for us, and he was just a good man. So
that's great. So you have done both PSD and TNT, and I know that from talking to you, you haven't quite been here long enough with the changes in the law. You had to step back from PSD training for a while until you get the 2 years in, right?
Right, because I had my license CDL for years, and then I eventually dropped it. I didn't think I was ever going to go back to driving. So when I decided, after the kids had grown up, I decided I wanted to go back to driving. I had to basically get my CDL again, and so with the new law, you have to have your CDL current for 2 years in order to do PSD. So I was able to get a trainee in doing PSD, and but then after that, that was the last one. So now I'm just doing TNT only for another year.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about your philosophy with training. You've had some experience training folks, and what would you say to students? What should you look for? What are some things that you maybe look for as a trainer in your students?
Well, what I like out of my training, a trainee that I have on my truck, I like somebody who is motivated and anxious to learn. That is going to, somebody that you don't even have to, you don't wake them up. They're up ahead of time, ready to do their shift. And anytime we stop, even, you know, I don't ask my students if for instance, if I'm making a delivery on my drive shift, I don't ask them to wake up from their sleep to necessarily work that stop. But I do enjoy it when a student does jump up because they want to learn. I like them making that effort to get as much information as they can. I kind of work, I kind of set my shifts up to give a TNT student an opportunity to get some night driving early in the morning, and then mainly drive during the day because they're going to have more opportunities to deal with the shippers and receivers and traffic and things of that nature, and I'll drive mainly through the night. But I have them start pretty early in the morning, and so one of the things that I like to see that also is a student who's going to get up ahead of time, be ready to go once their shift starts.
That's interesting because when Brooke was in training, and even now, we're kind of on a schedule where I primarily drive at night, but she likes to get up early enough where she drives a couple hours in the morning and then drive the majority of her shift through the day. So as you know, that doesn't always work out that way. Everything's load dependent, but as much as we can, I think it's important to get some experience both with morning and afternoon and daytime driving. And you know, I'll tell you, as a team, when you're on a team truck, those shippers and receivers, they can come both in the day and night at any time, 24 hours.
Yes,
so really,
do.
You get the experience virtually anytime. So how many TNT students have you had?
I've had 4.
4, okay.
Yeah.
And so you've only been doing it about a year, right?
Yeah,
so you're
just
pretty
under a
much
year,
taking a new student. When you finish one, you get another one, right?
Yeah, I've been staying pretty consistent. I did have a small break there for a little while, and then switched back over.
Okay. And what advice would you give to new people coming to Prime? What would you say is most important to be ready to be as successful as you can as a new trucker?
Be eager to learn. You know, be prepared to get up when your shift, when it's time for you to come to work. Already be up. Be prepared. If you're at a truck stop, you know, and you're waking up to maybe run your shift, you know, get up a little early, get inside. You know, if you need to get up early, get a shower or get you something to eat. Try and have that all out of the way, and that way when you have a time that you want to be on the road, you've got everything done and you can be on the road. Especially on mornings that you're making deliveries. You don't want to be late getting out. Things can happen when you're getting to your delivery, and you want that, you know, I try to be an hour early.
Yeah.
And you want that space because there are things that will happen, and so you don't want to drag your feet. Just be ready to go. That's one of the biggest things I would say.
I think that's great advice, and you know what I try to tell people all the time that ask me about coming to Prime or trucking in general. Any new change is going to be challenging. Change is not always going to be comfortable, and while we as trainers want to try to make it as comfortable as we can for our students, you have to know that it's not always going to be fun. You know, it's going to be challenging at times, and hey, anytime you live in a 10 by 10 box with somebody else for 8 weeks that you don't know, that's a situation where both parties just have to kind of understand that there's going to be some give and take.
I have a question. What kind of advice would you have for new trainers?
You know, you've got to just learn to be patient a little bit. You're dealing with people that's never driven a truck before, and it's completely new to them, and they're already stressed. They're under a lot of stress coming in. One, they're trying to get a job, and they don't want to fail at that. And so you got to be patient. You got to understand that they're going to make some mistakes, you know, and learn how to coach them and how to work through that without. You don't want to be down their throat. I've been guilty of times of making trainees nervous. And you know, that's something that I want to continue to work on, is to be better at not making them nervous. They're already nervous as it is, You know, so I'm guilty of it too, but that would be my advice to new people that's training is just try to be understanding, know that trainees are going to make mistakes, and the best way to make them better is not to add to their stress necessarily.
Yeah, that's great. Did you have something you wanted to add to that? I have to say I hate it. Hate's a strong word. I dislike it. I'm turned off when I hear trainers say, "It's my way or the highway." And you know, you can take that approach if you want to, but you're really setting up a situation that's going to make it more difficult for both parties. I kind of like the whole concept of cooperate and graduate a whole lot better. There has to be give and take with both sides. That student needs to come to Prime knowing that, hey, I'm getting on this person's truck. I'm going into their house. It is their rules, and I need to follow them, and I need to honor them and respect them. And I think the trainer at the same time needs to give that same respect back to that person, because even though they're new to trucking, nearly everybody has done something else in their life, and they deserve that same kind of respect. And I'm sure you give that to them.
Yeah.
So, well, any parting words or anything else you'd like to say, possibly to people coming to Prime or people out there in YouTube land?
Yeah, you know, for those that's looking at coming to Prime, listen, Prime is a great company, and whether it be a stepping stool for you, or whether it's something you want to stay with, you know, Prime is definitely a great place to get your start at. They have a lot of structure here to give you the support you need to get out there and learn the business. But you know, these little perks and things that they have to help a new person is actually great for even people that's driven for years. They make your life easy. And so Prime is a great company. So if you're looking at you know, getting into the trucking industry, I definitely recommend Prime. And you know, at this point in my career, I don't think I'm going to change. I like Prime. I've worked for other companies. I love some of the systems that Prime's puts on their trucks. It just makes life easier, even for weighing, you know, finding out whether you're legal or not when you get a load. I know some people's like, oh, just go to the scale, and if it's close, I'll go get on a cat scale. But it is nice being able to kind of, you know, look and see what your weight is before you even leave the shipper, and know whether you're legal. And you know, it saves a lot of time. So Prime, great company. Definitely recommend it as a start.
Good advice. And if you're interested in coming to Prime, you can use my driver code. It's GRAJDA as a referral. Or if you've liked Orville and what he had to say today, and you may like to have him as your trainer, you could use Orville's driver code, which is
DAVORV.
There you go. So reach out to me. We can talk you through the process. I'll list the number for my recruiter that you can call. Her name's Barbara Brown. She's great. And we can get the ball rolling for you here. So I do have one last question before we close. Tell me about Cornbread Trucker. What's the history with that? Where's that come from?
So that is actually one of my dad's CB handles. He was known as the Quiet One, and then Cornbread Trucker just because he loves cornbread. And he passed away. It's been over a year now, and been 2 years now. And so when I did my YouTube channel, I did the Cornbread Trucker as kind of a tribute to my father.
Okay.
And you know, it doesn't necessarily represent me, but it represents my father, and that represents me. So
how cool is that? Are you doing much content on your channel?
You know, I did a few videos and just kind of shied away from it. You know, just I need to learn some things about YouTube and
Sure.
doing videos. So,
well, if you've enjoyed getting to know Orville today, check him out, Cornbread Trucker at youtube.com. Great guy, great trainer. Glad to meet you today, and glad to have you as a subscriber on our channel.
Yeah.
This is Captain Dave and Miss Brooke with Simple Plan Trucking. If you've liked what you've heard today, feel free to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so that you are aware of when new content comes out, and we'll help our channel grow that way. So this is all of us, Miss Brooke, Orville, Felix the Wonder Dog and Captain Dave with Simple Plan Trucking. We'll talk with you later. Be safe out there, and God bless you all.